welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen. With me today is entrepreneur and Abraham Hicks fan Louis D'Souza. This is your daily dose of happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today.
I did again. I forgot to put everybody on screen. Oh, well, there it is again. But yeah, thank you for joining us. And our friend Anne Marie is a little under the weather. She's dealing with a flu bug after the holidays, but we'll be getting her back in the next week or so. Happy New Year to everybody. This is our first show of 2023. And we are blessed today because Louis and I have a special guest. Now, this is like neo-positivity week plus a bit more, because we did 2 shows last week to finish the week, and he's joining us again today because of conversations we had last week. Because Neil, well, first of all, the Friday show, we were doing all this stuff about sleep and dreams and all that kind of thing. And at one point, you expressed the opinion that you'd like to learn more about some of the more exotic forms of dreaming that we do and so forth. And I thought instantly about Louis because he's like the expert at out-of-body experiences and lucid dreaming and all that. So, Louis, have you met Neil before? I'm not sure if you guys have met before.
Briefly.
Briefly, you did. Okay.
Somewhere along the line. Yeah.
So you're probably not going to hear a whole lot from me. This is going to be largely a conversation between Neo and Louis, but you know me, I'll always jump in anyway. So Louis, meet Neo. Neo beat Louis. And Neo, tell Louis what you were telling me about, well, first of all, what you were telling me just now before we got started, but also what led up to this last week.
Well, I realized that, I'm the thoughts become things guy. And so, I'm trying to keep as many of my thoughts in a positive space as opposed to negative as I can. And I do a great job of that while I'm awake. However, I don't know what's going on while I sleep. And what I've heard was that if you don't remember your dreams, it's because they were so bad that your body put a self-defense mechanism and made you forget them. And that leads me to think 8 hours of the day, I'm dreaming horribleness, watering horrible seeds.
Neo, I just wanted to say to you, which book mustn't I look at?
It was so long ago. No, this is word of mouth. It was so long ago. I don't even know who said it. But yeah, I would like to get some clarity on that and what exactly lucid dreams are, and specifically flying in your dreams, which is really custom to me because I'm obsessed with flying anyway, like airplanes, RC airplanes, real airplanes, paramotors. Whatever, I'm all for it. So yeah, I was trying to place a lot of things, and I was just telling Walt before the show. I told him before that I heard that the amount of flight you can proactively do in your dream, I'm talking about up, down, left, right, not just gliding, like aiming and going there, is the equivalent of the abundance that you feel about, yourself and your life. And you can please chime in on that and tell me that's true. Last night I was able to fly more than I've ever flown, and I remembered a dream for the first time since November. So it's kind of crazy that I woke up to a message from Walt saying, "Hey, you come in and talk about dreams." I'm like, hell yeah. So with all that said, start firing away. Answer whatever you want to answer first.
Basic philosophy is where I'd like to start. And you said to me that you like to focus more on your positive aspects of your thoughts rather than your negative. But the basics that I like to put out all the time is the importance of negativity.
Yeah, we did a nice segment about that. I think it was like November or beginning of December. I really got my first glimpse of really being appreciative for the negative things that have happened to me because they got me here. But on the same note, if I have 60,000 thoughts today, I'm going to want at least 30,000 and one of them to be in a positive nature. It's just for my over under. Because thoughts become things. You spend too much time in a negative headspace, you manifest a lot of negative stuff. So yeah, that's appreciating the negative is a bitter pill to swallow, but once you get it, it's actually pretty easy.
I remember there was this guy, John DeMann. He offered this free mentor course online, and I jumped on it because at that stage I was interested in just chatting to anybody about this stuff. And he started to mentor me, and he asked me, one of the tasks I had to do was to put something I was thankful for every day. So I wrote there, I'm thankful for the sunshine, the blah, 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 my wife, family, blah. And then I said, no, I'm really thankful for this negative thing that happened because it woke me up, made me more aware. I started to understand things better. And he stopped me and he said, Louis, you're one of the very, very few people that have said to me that you appreciate the negative. And I wanted to tell you how great this is. And it's a tremendous thing that you've done, that you understand it and all the rest of it. And I really got it, and I've been using it for years. I just didn't understand with clarity what it was all about. So, with Abraham Hicks, you really learn that the negative, you come down to the physical universe and you've got this contrast going on the whole time, positive and negative. Okay. So when I was young, I used to say, I know because from the age of 8, I was really passionate about understanding what the hell I was doing here. I didn't want them to teach me maths or history or biology or science. Or, what am I doing here? And then I'll study maths, history, biology, science. First. Okay. But nobody was interested in me or what I was asking. And I said to Mom, when at the age of 8, I said, Mom, what is truth, love, and God really about? And she said, huh? And I realized I had to find out for myself. Nobody was going to tell me, not even my parents, they didn't know. So it's been a journey for me to really understand that. And I understood that with clarity, even at the age of 8, that without light, there'd be no darkness. Without an up, there'd be no down. Without the valley, because I lived in the mountains, there'd be no mountains. So I knew that there was a profoundness in there, but I didn't understand how that it worked in a human. And then Abraham Hicks said to me, when you know what you don't want, you have a better idea of what you do want. And that's where the expansion comes from. It first comes from the negative. All expansion comes from that negative. When you start looking at the negatives, and that's step 5 in the Abraham Hicks teaching, is when you can feel the negative instantly and turn it around to a positive, because you're able to pivot straight away because you understand the whole process and it's all clear that the negativity is an expansion point for you. Okay, so I wanted to bring that up going into dreams and all the rest of it. So basically how you think about it all, it's how it's going to affect you, isn't it? If you think that if you're having flying dreams, it's all liberating, then that's what's going to be for you. If you're thinking that, thoughts become things, absolutely. If you're thinking, what somebody said, which you brought up, then it's going to come into reality in your dreams, in your life, in all over. So, make your own reality when it comes to dreaming is what I'm trying to point out here. If you start studying all the gurus and the yogis and all the stuff, which I've always gone to for my enlightenment, because looking at the whole planet on this planet Earth, the Southern Indians have been the ones that have really spent huge amount of time, effort, and inclination and direction into understanding what we're doing here and how the world works. They've just done it. And the West is now eventually catching up and proving all those things that the yogis have been saying for centuries. So they said that, out-of-body experiences is another dimension, or it's basically they kind of created the structure that you've got a maze, yeah? So you can imagine you put a rat in a maze and all he sees is walls. Mm-hmm. But if you lift yourself up over the maze, you can see, you just go there, and you're out. Okay? Mm-hmm. So it's an expanded awareness state, and there are levels to it. So they talk about the astral, the causal, the mental, the etheric, and soul level. Now, in soul level, there's, in theory, no mess. That means no matter, energy, space, and time. Therefore, it's direct perception of everything. But if you go to the astral, it's just a little bit thinner than the physical. So if you go into your astral body, which you've heard of, then you can walk through physical walls, but you can't walk through astral walls.
Okay.
If you go to the etheric, you can walk through astral walls and physical walls, but you can't walk through etheric walls. etc., etc., etc. So until you get to soul level or source level, which is pure positive energy, where there is just direct awareness and understanding and just clarity. So most of the, from my limited understanding of what they've taught, they say that most of the religions kind of stop at the mental realm. Let's take Islam and Christianity and a couple of others. They all kind of get stuck at the mental realm. So that's one way of looking at it all. So the next thing is, what's the easiest way to go from your physical to, let's just say, an astral experience, because it's the next level out there, and it's probably much like the emotional guidance scale of Abraham Hicks. You don't want to go from negative to positive because the jump is too large. So you go from depression to revenge, and from revenge to rage, rage to frustration, frustration to I don't care, and I don't care to hope in the positive scale. So you want to go, let's say, from the physical to, you want to go to the next level, which is, let's call it the astral. Mm-hmm. So you're practicing to get to the astral. How do we get there? One of the ways is to start doing it is to start studying your dreams. As you start studying your dreams, you start becoming aware when you're dreaming that you're dreaming. Okay, what's the word for that? They call it something.
Lucid.
Lucid dreaming. Yeah, lucid dreaming. Okay, so you go from dreaming to lucid dreaming. Right, so that's the next phase. So the study of dreams has been taught by many of the spiritual cultures out there, and there's a reason for it, because it helps you get out of the maze and start having a look at the bigger picture. All right, and you can get teachings in the inner realms that you wouldn't be able to get here. So to go from dreaming, studying dreams, to lucid dreaming, from lucid dreaming to consciously controlling the out-of-body experience, when you start controlling it, not just looking at it like a movie and being aware that you're in the movie, when you start controlling it, they start calling that out-of-body experiences.
So what's the difference between a lucid dream and an out-of-body experience?
One is you can control, the other one's more like a movie. So you're aware you're in the movie, but you can't really control anything that's going on in it. You're just, I know I'm dreaming. I know I'm dreaming.
So I had an out-of-body experience today.
Uh-huh. Yes. Maybe. You just tell me what you had, and I will give you a kind of an idea of how I see it.
When it comes to flying, if I can do it, it's 3 to 10 feet off the ground, and it's a constant, I want to go higher, but I can't. And then I start to lose confidence. Like, damn, am I going to touch the ground? And then I start to go down. And then if I can manage to push up, I don't usually get higher than that. Today, go ahead.
So I wanted to tell you about how I started, and I think you'll start seeing the similarities. So in the beginning, I did that. I started studying my dreams. Okay. Then I started becoming aware of my dreams. Then I started having my first out-of-body experience. The first out-of-body experience was I was lying in a bed that was really high up. You had to climb up on a ladder. And I, as a student, I had a bicycle as my form of transport. It was parked in the little passageway. And I became aware that I was going head first down off my bed. And I was saying to myself, I hope to God I'm not in my physical body, because this is going to hurt. And then I zooped around the corner, and as I zooped around the corner, there was my bicycle, and it had 2 reflectors at the back. And they were so bright in the astral that I got such a shock. I woke up in bed and my heart was pounding and I was all shocked and all the rest of it. So that was my first conscious out-of-body experience. Then I had many other learning out-of-body experiences where I was lifting myself up and going through the arm of a chair, just floating through it. And I was doing Tai Chi in my dreams, because I was doing Tai Chi in the real life as well. And Tai Chi is a great way to help you out-of-body experiences for some reason or other. I don't quite know why, because you land up, when you start dreaming Tai Chi, you start having out-of-body experiences. There's a link there. Okay.
Oh,
So I was having all these little running. I was doing Tai Chi, and then I was running, then I was jumping, and then I was falling, and I was flying a little bit and not flying a little bit, and then all the rest. So, and then I was floating through chair, the arms of the chairs. I was trying to be perfect and go through the arm of these chairs and things like that. So there was loads of experiences of waking up with my heart pounding because, the leaving of the body, there's a fear aspect to it. And because out-of-body experience is also called the little death.
Really?
Yes, because it is a little death. It is dying from one level of consciousness and going into another level of consciousness. So there is a death involved. They talk about the silver cord. So there's a cord connecting from your physical body, from kind of your solar plexus, to the astral, causal, mental, etherical soul body, which when you want to come back, it follows the cord back, goes back into the body. Okay. I've seen the cord before. I've seen my body from out of body and look down and blah, 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 blah. So, these things are perceivable. So it's really interesting because, the study of dreams, the way I've kind of come to understand it is they are not necessarily prophetic. They're more showing you where your thoughts are. And if you break everything down in the world to vibration, they are you becoming aware of vibration. And if you look at the physical body, your physical body is a vibrational interpreting machine. Do you get it?
Okay, that makes sense.
So your eyes see different colors are different vibrations. Your ears hear different sounds, they're different vibrations. You feel different textures, they're different vibrations. You taste different tastes, they're different vibrations. So you've got these 5 physical senses. So your physical body is a vibrational interpreting machine.
I like that.
Okay.
Write that
So
down.
what is happening here is you are now taking your consciousness and you're tuning it into a different vibration. Okay. So you'll notice very clearly if you become very aware and start playing with the outer body experiences and soul travel / astral travel, you'll start realizing that going from the physical to the astral, there's a much faster vibration to it. You are vibrating at a much higher frequency. And as you go to the next level, it's a much higher frequency. And as you go to the next level, it's a much higher frequency. So there's a lot more to say about the realms, and the different vibrations. In theory, there's somebody who makes sure that you don't leave this realm and go to the next realm. And there's like policemen at all different levels. So that's, there is
Which, by the way, I don't know if you knew, Louis, but that's actually appropriate because Neo is a former police officer.
All right. Yeah, you have those ones in the physical as well that try and make rules, try and work with the structure of rules that society has put down, which are, and I don't know if you saw this when you were doing it, Neo, that they're flawed on many, many levels.
Oh, yeah.
The laws.
I don't agree with most of them.
Exactly. So, it's interesting if you can start working out for yourself what laws you are prepared to obey. Most of them would have nothing to do with the physical, the ones that society has made. But when you start finding your own laws which you obey, it's very interesting because you start having more power over your life and you start understanding life much clearer. So going back to out of body.
Amen to that. I'm going to say amen to that. After
yeah, absolutely.
I retired in 2008, I learned a lot about retiring. And that was a huge part of it. The laws that were set around me that were bullshit. That I could just, and that's not just from the law of attraction. It was like physical type laws, stuff that's going on out here. You got to do this. You got to look this way. You got to be this person. You got to do this. You got to abide by these rules. It's just like, no, not going to do it. That's the reason why I get VIP everywhere I go. and I get in places where no one can get in because I
Absolutely.
literally
It's just a
walk
thought process.
past everybody like I own the damn joint, and they let me in everywhere. It's insane how I do this. My friends, they got a saying for it, but I'm not gonna say it because it's curse words in it. But they have a saying for it.
Well, you have a saying too. It's called "Thoughts Become Things."
There it is. Yeah.
And when you know how to use it, you become more powerful in the physical universe. In the eyes of others, in the eyes of yourself, you're just understanding how it is, and it just works. You don't really care that it's powerful or not powerful. All right. Because when you get trapped up in all their idea that it's powerful, then you start seeing the not power of it and all the other aspects.
Yeah, the feeling of lack
Yeah.
hits me. Yeah, and I don't like the lack feeling.
So, I love the lack feeling now because I understand what it is. It's an expansion. And therefore, there's nothing I don't like anymore. So you can throw anything at me. You can criticize me. You can do what you want to me. And I will say, oh, good. If I get upset or distraught or anything about it, you're teaching me something. You're my teacher. That's the first thing that comes up to me is like, yeah, you're going to teach me something. I'm getting so excited.
I gotta get there because I love my toys. Me and Walt talk about this all the time. I love my toys, man. And when I want something, I want it, and, so yeah, I definitely got to get to that headspace to where I can see lack as a good thing.
Yeah. It's very, very, very powerful. And it's centering and harmonious and peaceful and powerful, gently powerful.
Yeah, hold on. Before we get back into the dream, we need to dive into that. So what would you tell a person like me who's looking for that, but just doesn't know how? Haven't read any books that keyed in on that.
Keyed in on what?
On appreciating lack, being able to appreciate lack as a learning tool or whatever.
So, the important thing to understand is, how does the universe work? The universe works, the physical universe works on polarity. And contrast is the word we use for polarity. Contrast is your teacher. When you know what you don't want, you have a better idea what you do want. That's the negative and the positive.
All right, so you gotta give me an example. I'm obsessed with this Lamborghini, and I've been wanting it my whole life. And as much as I know I don't need it, and when faced with an opportunity to buy one, I actually, went for the 4-seater because I got kids. But it's just a desire. It's burning. I know I'll have it very soon. It's just I want it now. And there's a couple things like that. So how would I work my way through that when I think of the Lamborghini and the lack feeling strikes? Like, how do you get it? Okay, you got to go here, do that, talk to this person. It's going to cost this much. Like, before all that even happens, I'd like to not eradicate, but, find a way to get through the whole lack feeling in the beginning before all the narrative comes in of how I can get it and what needs to take place.
There's so many places I can go with this. The first thing is, Abraham Hicks would say to you, if you wanted to prove the law of attraction to yourself, start with a pencil. Do you care if you've got a pencil or an extra one or not? Do you? No, not at all. How much resistance to getting the pencil do you think you're going to have then? None. Do you feel what that feels like? Now feel what it feels like with a Lamborghini.
A ton of weight just hit on my
Yeah,
chest.
Yeah, exactly. So what we're looking at there is, Abraham Hicks will say, it's as easy to manifest a castle as it is a button. For the universe. It makes no difference to the universe. The universe can do either. The only difference is your
perception.
Okay. So I would say go from the pencil to the coffee. And go from the coffee to the meal. And go from the meal to the small car. And go from the small car to the medium car. Go from the medium car to the bigger car. Until you
get them one at a time, or just visualize them one at a time.
Find something that you got almost no resistance to and manifest it. Doesn't matter what it is, where it is, but get used to the fact, it always manifests. Now you've already got some of that vibration with you. I can walk into anything. I can go anywhere. I can pass any queues. I can just get there, and everybody's got a name for me. Yeah, you've already got the vibration, but you haven't turned that into a Lamborghini. Okay, a Lamborghini's still a big thing, and it's a big thing. Why? I mean, the universe doesn't care a shit if he gives you a castle or a button. So why is this a big thing for you? And the big thing is, you eventually get to the stage, Neo, where you say, I don't care if I get a Lamborghini or the most expensive car in the world. It doesn't mean anything to me anymore. And you'll be able to manifest them easily. And, some of the gurus can just manifest gold in their hand, It's nothing for them. It doesn't mean shit to them. So they can manifest it like this, So when you take away this great need to get something that society will recognize, blah, blah, blah. And I think you did get somewhere. Richard Branson, and what? I saw a picture. No?
I think it was Dan Mangano.
Oh, that's Dan.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I was trying to say that it's a step-by-step thing, and you'll manifest certain things, and there'll be other things which are going to be a big deal for you. So you really need to go from step by step. Now, you understand the emotional guidance scale, yes or no?
No, I never heard it. Probably, but I never heard it put in that phrase.
Okay, so Abraham Hicks will say to you that you can't go from depressed to happy.
Oh, go in between. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So you need to go up the scale. Now, when you start to manifest things, you need to go up the scale. My last car was a Jaguar. Now I've given that up, and I've got the brand new Kia Niro, almost Neo.
I got a car named after you.
I got a car after you. How about that?
Got to go get that.
So it's a much cheaper car, but it's not the brand new version and all the rest of it. But interestingly enough, vibrationally, I feel 1,000 times happier in the Kia than I did in the Jag. And, I worked up to the Jag. You know how I worked up to the Jag is because I'm not into cars. So it wasn't really that difficult for me. I started off by saying that I'm going to test the law of attraction on something I don't care a lot about, which is cars. And I'm going to find a car on my road that is very rare, and it was a Jaguar. I walked all the way down about 2 miles down the road, looked at every driveway and all along the streets. And I looked for the car that was the least popular, or the one that was least out there. And it was a Jaguar. I saw one parked, and it was an old Jaguar. It was parked in there, and I saw, hey, there's one. And then I saw one other. So on a 2 mile walk, I saw two Jags, and I thought, okay, so I remember from a James Bond movie that they had this Jaguar as a James Bond. So this is like a cool thing to visualize. So over the year, I started focusing on just Jaguars, and I started seeing more and more and more Jaguars. And I reckon they should give me a percentage of all the sales of Jaguars, because now there's shitload of Jaguars in my area. And I reckon it's because of me.
Yeah.
Because I had this huge appreciation for these Jaguars.
That's pretty cool, though. I mean, if you can find a way to collect that percentage, let us know. I mean, that would
Exactly.
be so great.
I'm going to need that.
Exactly.
I need that. My neighbors keep popping up with my toys. I need that.
So, eventually there was the closest car to mine parked out the back was a Jaguar. That's how close it got to me. And eventually I thought, well, why don't I just visualize having one? And I thought, okay, I'll start doing that. And then I looked around at all the different colors, and I said, that red, that, maroon red is gorgeous. It's to die for. And Walt has seen pictures of it. And I bought, not too long after that, probably about 3 months later, my wife saw it in an advert while she was working on night duty as a nurse, and we jumped on and down to the guys that were selling it, and the old car that I was driving there died on the way. Almost died on the way there, and I just managed to get it in, and we did the sale, and we got out, and it had this beautiful Jaguar that was only 30,000 on the clock, and a couple of years old. So it was gorgeous, and for a very reasonable price. So, everything just fell in place. So the old car died. They got it. We got the new car for a very good price, etc. So,
By the way,
everything-
something I got to tell you too, because the part that he's kind of skipping over here, but was a big part of the story, was when he told us here on the show about how he'd acquired the Jag, and he just told the story again, and he described how he felt about it at that time. It really reinforced what he said about 5 minutes ago. He really didn't care about the card, but it was so cool to have it.
I was waxing lyrical about it. It's got this feature and it's got that feature.
Yeah.
I was just enjoying it. But I didn't care. So, it manifested easily. Is the kind of point I'm pointing out there. But so the important thing that that I can share with anybody is the core philosophy. The core philosophy is contrast is your teacher. If any good teacher, guru, master, mentor, blah, 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 will bring contrast to the student.
Nice.
They will hand it out, dish it out, push it in, pull it out, massage it, get them to talk about it, how to go from what you don't want to what you do want, and how to appreciate it.
Now, what Abraham Hicks book is that from?
All of them.
Yeah,
No, I mean, I spent about 10,000 hours listening to Abraham Hicks. So I wanted to understand them very clearly, and their message is very simple.
If you want
I've
the emotional
read
guidance scale, that's in the Ask and It Is Given. If you want that one,
no, not that one. The whole, appreciating the contrast and all that other. Because I've
All
done
of them.
3 of the audiobooks and I didn't hear anything about that in them.
I've listened to so many, I don't know how I can tell you which one it was.
All right,
literally about 10,000 hours worth of.
If it comes to you, let me know. All right, so let me get into last night's stream. Mind you, backing up a little bit, a couple months ago, I said I want to remember my dreams. I used my old cheat code to remember them. I'm so happy and thankful that I remember my dreams. I kept saying that, and I remembered a couple of dreams. Cool. Haven't remembered a dream since November. We talked about it last Friday, about lucid dreams and So last night, I wake up around 10 o'clock this morning, and I like to lay in bed and kind of just fall back to sleep sometimes if that's what's going to happen. And so I did fall back asleep, and I ended up flying. I don't remember how I started flying. I was just in the air. And I noticed that I was able to maintain it because, like I said, when I think how long is this going to last, or can I go higher, and I try to go higher and I can't, I'm like, oh man, then I start to go down more, and I'm like, go up, and I go down and I touch the ground. I'm like, all right, let's try it again, jump a couple times, and I can't get it. Then if I can get it, I can't go above like 3 to 6 feet. This was different. I was if you think like a 2-story apartment complex, I was at the height of one, actually flying through a 2-story apartment complex and over some buildings.
Did you fly through the walls yet?
No.
Okay.
No, I made sure to go over because I never even thought about flying. So I would go over and it'd be like a grassy patch like you see in apartment complexes. And I remember going up to the side of the wall and I was free. I was in control. And I kind of I knew I was asleep, but I didn't know I was asleep. It's like where I wasn't conscious enough at all to really proactively control it. I was controlling it just a little bit. And I remember I went close to the building and I spun around and like a little and went. Now here's the thing. Two things that really stood out to me. One was when I tried to go up higher, I wasn't getting it. I said, come on, I'm at 2 stories. Let's do this. I wasn't getting it, got scared, went down. And I noticed, I turned my head right and I went right, turned my head left, went right. I said, well, where I'm turning, I'm going. And I said, well, just look up. And so when I looked up, there was this tree in front of me. It was the largest tree that I've ever seen that you could even imagine. It was huge. It was like a bright light coming from behind it. I looked to the top of the tree to go to that height, probably 10 stories high, or probably 8 stories high. So I looked at the top of the tree to go towards that height. I didn't start flying towards that height. Something happened and I went straight up. I turned straight up and went doof. And now I'm almost at the top level of this tree. And I look over and from the ground, there's a hill going up from the tree, and then an apartment complex there. So now I'm at the roof level of that 2-story apartment complex. So though I went up way higher than I was up the hill. So I went over there, went over that building, and in the grassy pasture, I would see, for some reason, 4 dinosaurs back to back in a circle, like around a campfire, but there was no fire, just back to back in a circle. And I went, it was a Parasaurolophus. And I went down, what is that? And I saw it. Whoa, I don't want to land there. I went over that, went over a couple more buildings. And every time I went over a building, I would see a layer, like grass, because that's how it normally is around here. But there would be 4 dinosaurs facing each other in a circle, different dinosaurs in every one. So I don't know what the significance in that was, but I was very happy that I was able to control my flight, because I'm obsessed with flying. I have flight simulators, and I'm a pilot. So I was very happy for that reason. Plus the whole, I was taught that, your abundance level, can have is equal to how much you can fly. So yeah, that was pretty much it. The tree with the bright light. I did notice another thing too, and you can tell me if this is true. When I fly an airplane or a paramotor, I can see everything, and there's so much detail. In this dream, once I got so high, I couldn't see far away details. It was just white, glowing background light. And I was like, maybe because my brain doesn't want to have the capacity to put up that much detail as background, because background is a lot of detail. That's the hardest part about making a video game, is the background, the walls, the buildings. So yeah, anything you can pull from that, please.
There's so many things I was working to start. So I had an experience once. I was sitting on my bed, fully awake, and suddenly, with my eyes wide open, I saw a palm tree in front of me, like far away, like on the other side of the sea. And then I started zooming in on the palm tree and zooming in, and the water was rushing towards me, and I was zooming in and zooming in and zooming in until I could see a tiny part of one little bit of a hair on that tree. Nice. So your ability to zoom in on anything is there if you kind of believe it. Okay. And in the beginning, it's such a wow experience that, once you've had an out-of-body experience, you're under no illusions that it is something amazing and that it is an out-of-body experience. So everybody goes, oh, you're just hallucinating or whatever. These guys that take drugs and hallucinate, those things are real to them when they're experiencing them. They're real. Mm-hmm. So, as much as anybody says it's hallucinating about it, it's just, yeah, maybe I was hallucinating, if that's the word you want to use, but it's real. It's really real. So
for me, it's the same thing as when somebody says, well, it's just a mere coincidence. And my answer is, yeah, take out the word mere and you got it.
Yeah. So, the other thing is, I'm going to tell you another experience of mine. I used to go to my house where I was born on the side of the mountain in South Africa. And I used to fly in there and come down. And outside the French windows was 2 items. There was that old granny's chair, which I burnt as a kid. So half the chair was burnt. And next to it was an elephant. And I knew I had a choice. Do you want to choose the old, in a way, or the new? So I said, no, I want the elephant. So the elephant was Dumbo. So this flying elephant, I sat on its back. It was a small one. And it took me up. And we started flying through the universe, through the stars, like in Walt's background there. Literally that kind of, with speed of incredible proportions. And it was freezing. Absolutely freezing cold. And I was hugging onto this elephant because I was so cold. And we were going faster and faster and faster. And like Starship Enterprise, all the, when they're going to hyperwarp or whatever it is, these things are just flashing past you. And that's what it was like. And I woke up in bed and with my heart pounding again and like, oh my God, that was so cold and scary and fast and, absolutely sweating. So then another time I went there and there was a whole group of my spiritual friends all around the swimming pool. And I flew down, and it was a very friendly family, lovely atmosphere. So I said, what are we going to do today, guys? They said, oh, we're going to the moon. I said, cool. And we all started rising off the lawn, and we went up to the moon. And when we went to the moon, there were people living there, because on that level of astral level or whatever, there are people living there. Whatever level I went to, it's populated. The moon is populated.
Sounds like that.
So, and it was very real to me. So we flew all the way up there, and I said, how do we do it? And they said, just like Superman, put your hands out in front of you. So I did that, and we went like Superman. We flew there. And, literally, we went around the moon, and we met people, and it was incredible experience. Fully conscious, controlling the whole thing, doing what I wanted to do. So I'm trying to give you an idea that, from these little stages of learning to fly in the outer body, you can go further and further and further and further and further and further, to a lot of different. I always use my beginning experiences because they're good ways of explaining the step-by-step process. Mm-hmm. Eventually, there are places in the inner planes where you can go learn spiritual stuff with, or anything you want. You can learn how to knit, crochet, sew, computer parts, whatever you want to, how to manifest a car, how boring.
Like the internet.
Been there, done that.
Sounds like a spiritual internet, kind of.
Yeah.
Travel instantly and learn some stuff, see some stuff, experience some stuff.
And then Abraham Hicks told me something that completely threw my whole dimension. I kept on thinking I was going outside my body. I was doing it. But I started realizing that this is a vibrational interpreting machine, and all you're doing is you're tuning into different vibrations, like a radio station. Oh, let's go to BBC One, or let's go to BBC Two, or let's go to Kiss FM, or whatever. So you're just tuning your awareness into different vibrational areas. You can tune yourself in, Abraham Hicks would say, into, say, Gandhi or Einstein, and then you can start downloading the information that is in that area of vibration. You can tune into the station of Einstein and start understanding what he understood. So you start looking at it from a completely different perspective, as I'm traveling there, or I'm just tuning the moon into where I am now.
So how would you coach someone on getting into these dream states, as opposed to just going to sleep and not remembering nothing when they wake up?
One of the things you can do is, at a certain stage, which phone apps can now tell you, you get the REM stage and you get the alpha stage and all the rest of it. And there's a certain stage where if you wake yourself up during that stage, or, you set an alarm or something, you will remember your dreams easily. So you can alarm yourself to wake up, where you will be able to remember the dreams easier. So you can go study all that as well. I don't like forcing myself awake, so I learned many years ago to program myself to wake up whenever I want to. And I can go to sleep whenever I want to. There is a provisor. I need to be tired. I can't go to sleep if I'm not tired. I'm not interested in going to sleep if I'm not tired. I want to be awake. I want to live in this world. I came here to play in this world, so I'm not going to go to sleep. And as you become more and more spiritually aware, more, you speak to the yogis or you look at the yogis, they sleep less and less and less, but they tend to meditate a little bit more. Okay. So what you find out is what Abraham Hicks says sleep does. Yeah. Very interestingly enough, he says it freezes your vibration. So when you go to sleep, you stay at that vibration until you wake up, and then you'll continue at that vibration. That's why they strongly recommend you go to sleep happy. And then you'll wake up happy, because it freezes that level of vibration for that period. So I'm not 100% sure how much I agree with all that, but
yeah,
it's an interesting idea that if you go to sleep happy, you'll wake up happy. Always solve your marital problems before you go to sleep. You know, that kind of thing.
That's got different complications with it.
It does. But, you know, you will wake up feeling better, I'm guessing, if you sorted things out beforehand. But try and get yourself to the highest level of passionate state, positive state, before you go to sleep.
Yeah, I have some pretty intense rituals that I do before I even go into my bedroom.
That sounds horrible.
They leave me
Intense. What is so intense?
Nah, they
I got
leave
some
me.
passionate, incredible, amazing.
They leave me in such a great headspace that I'm excited when I lay down, and I'm like, I'm never gonna get to sleep if I'm excited. But I fall asleep pretty fast. But sometimes I'm so excited that I'm like, oh man, like this is crazy. As I'm walking into my bedroom, I'm like, yo, I'm ready to go. I can't wait till tomorrow. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of putting yourself in the right mindset before you lay down.
I also want to throw something else in too, because you mentioned, Louis, you weren't 100% sure if it's true that the state that you go to sleep in is the state that you wake up in. And I remember experimenting with that. And there'd be times where, you know, I wasn't really feeling it, so to speak. And okay, so I'm going to really focus on getting my vibe up and then see what happens when I wake up the next morning. And, you know, so I get my vibe up, so forth. And then I'd go to sleep and I wake up next morning I would feel like crap. I said, well, that proves it. And I thought about it for a moment. I said, oh, wait a minute. After I got my vibe up, just as I was getting ready to go back to sleep, I went right back to where I was before. So actually, no. I did all that work and I didn't actually stay there.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that at all, because I've gone to sleep in a crappy mood and woke up on top of the world, and vice versa. I've gone to sleep really excited and woke up just feeling like dirt. Yes, I wouldn't really.
The other thing I highly recommend you play with, Neo, is when you're going to sleep, try and remain awake for as long as possible into that state.
Oh, I like doing that.
Yeah.
I didn't do my purpose in doing that is because I've always wanted to experience falling asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't remember falling asleep.
That's
and so
good enough reason for it.
Yeah. So nights that I'm really, really tired, I'm like, I'm going to stay up as long as I can. I want to feel this changeover. I want to see and I still haven't, but I don't know if you can.
You know, I went through a phase of doing that, and I was very interested to see what happened to everybody when they went to sleep. So I used to go over the little town that I lived near, and I used to float over it, and I used to wait for everybody to go to sleep and then watch the bodies float out of the roofs of the houses. And I used to sit there and watch all these things and the different states they were in and what they were aware of and what they weren't aware of and where they were going, what they were doing. And also you can find your partner that way as well, because you can go out there and you can see who's a vibrational match to you. And then you can get drawn to them, and then you can find out where they live and blah, 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 blah.
Well, if you ever want to try this is the greatest thing. I tend to fall every night from 2 minutes to 2 o'clock in the morning, midnight to 2 a.m. I'm doing some kind of meditative, proactive manifesting, some visualizations, whatever. That's my gym time for my mind, those 2 hours. And usually in the last half hour, I'm on my recliner. So if you want to do this sleeping thing, like, cause I fall asleep in my recliner a lot and I wake up and I'm like, all right, time to go to bed. Do it in a situation like that. Cause I was tired. It was like 1 a.m. I lay down in my recliner and I was falling asleep. And so when I woke up from that at 1:15, I got to try it again. And then I woke up from that at 1:25 and I got to try it again, try to experience the experience of falling asleep. So if you do it in your bed, you're probably only gonna get one time because you're gonna fall asleep, unless you go pee in the middle of the night. But if you want to do it multiple times and make a study out of it, I'm obsessed with studying things like this. Do it on like a recliner, somewhere you're not supposed to go to sleep, and do it a little early so you can have a couple passes of, waking up, try it again, wake up, try it again. It's dope, though. I love studying stuff like that.
Now, Walt knows this, but I've done a lot of work with energy of the body. Called Jinshinjutsu is the art itself. You can look it up on the internet, jinshinjutsu.net.
Jinshinjutsu.
JINSHIN.
You can find a number of episodes on the LOA Today site too, where we did it.
Yeah, many.
Okay,
Conversations.
cool.
Astrid came on and talked about it a lot with us as well. My sister-in-law. So what I will do is I'll just hold here and hold under my bum. And this is the janitor, which will clean and detox the body. And I'm sitting there on the left hand, on the same side of the shoulder, down on that side of the bum, under the bone. That's where you're doing it. So this is the janitor. And this is the 1125. And this will just start cleaning out, detoxing the body. And I hold it there and I start feeling relief, release, relief, release. And then I'll hold another point. Relief, release. Then I hold my spine and another point. And that I know works particularly well for me at the moment. And you just get this relief and release, and spine starts turning and twitching and clicking, and tears stream down my eyes from a relief and release point of view, not from any emotional point of view. Nothing to do with emotion. But it's quite common that you'll have tears coming out. You yawn a lot. And these things happen, and as the body aligns and balances, and then you just feel this deep, gentle, beautiful relaxation. And then to get into that dream state and focusing on that, you really have to be more aware, because it's easy to fall asleep at that stage. Yeah. So you've released the body and you brought it into a bit of balance. I always hold my inner thighs, cross over like that, hold my inner thighs, and that helps any burping and farting. So if there's a little bit of air in my stomach or my or my anus that needs to come out, it sorts both of those out, pushes the one up and the other one down. So then, I just align my body at night, and, I do all these things so naturally, I even forget about it, talk about them to anybody. I'm doing them for years, By
the way, when you were describing that janitor holder, whatever you called it, I'm thinking to myself, my God, that's how I go to sleep when I need to relax. I had no idea I was doing a hold.
This is the thing. You see the people on trains, holding, this part here, which is your stomach area, and holding some other part of their body. And I thought, that's the stomach flow they're doing there, And the stomach flows helps the thinking and the digestion of the thoughts as well. So when you work on the stomach flow, you're helping with the digestion of your thoughts, et cetera, et cetera. So you can go on and on and on about Jin Shin Jyutsu, but I wanted to bring in that level because what I did once upon a time when I started learning it, I did my first 5-day course. After that, I just worked on myself every evening, because you can work on others as well with it. But I was mostly focused on only doing it on myself. So I was very skilled and still am skilled at doing it on myself. And I woke up at 4:00 every single morning, bar none. And I was working 9 to 5 in blue collar London. So I was waking up at 4:00 in the morning, doing 2 hours of this energy work, getting so incredibly relaxed because I had 50-cent piece, no hair in the head. My back was so painful that if I bent my head to get into the car, I'd literally crying. I had bags under my eyes and blah, 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 blah. So all of this was starting to relief and release and getting it out of my system. So I had this beautiful 4 to 6. I did Jinshin, and then from 6 to 7, and I never ever put an alarm on anything. This happened automatically. I just did it. It just happened. For a year, I did it this way. And from 6 to 7, I slept, but it was incredibly delicious sleep where the dreams were incredible. Absolutely out of this world. Vivid colors, sounds, out-of-body experiences, lucid dreaming, blah, blah, blah. All of that was during that phase in my life. So there are levels and levels and levels you can go to. And one of the things I'm working on quite a bit at the moment is breathing.
Oh, yeah.
There's something called the 4-7-8 breath.
Oh, yeah. I do that.
You've heard the Van Hoff guy, the Hoff guy?
Wim Hof? Yeah.
Yeah, Wim Hof, yeah.
Inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Yeah.
Yeah. So the big thing about him is he teaches you to appreciate exhaling and holding an exhale. Mm-hmm. Most of the breathing techniques are holding an inhale. in some shape or form. But he teaches you to appreciate cold. He teaches you to appreciate the exhale as opposed to the inhale. And it's very powerful. It's like getting to that point that I got to with understanding life, is appreciating the negativity and respecting it and understanding it's an expansion point and not looking at it as anything else. So that's what Hofgai is doing as well. So that is so powerful. You know, you've got this deliciously relaxed feeling in your body as you're going to sleep, and you've done these breathing exercises, and you're just, could life be any better? Just, you can't. You know, it's just.
You know what? Breath work is a perfect example of appreciating the negative, because it is absolutely necessary for you to exhale.
Absolutely.
To the point of no air in order for you to inhale again. It's necessary. And we do it so many times and just take it for granted or whatever. We don't think about it. That's dope. Is there any association that you've learned between flying and abundance? Like what I said, how the amount of proactive flying you could do, not just floating, proactive flying you could do is equal to the amount of abundance you feel about your life.
So when I studied my spiritual path, and they were teaching us that all these books that say, you know, a snake means this, and a house means that, and that means this.
I heard what a dinosaur meant earlier.
And they said this is all rubbish, because somebody who's brought up with snakes and comes to love snake doesn't fear snakes. Okay, so the whole idea again, it's what do you believe? You can make your belief. You know, it's up to you. Make it. Don't. So what you're asking for is the reliance of the active vibration that is in society already. One of the examples of an active vibration in society, in our world, is gravity. Every time we walk out of our house in the morning, we don't think we're going to fly upwards. And because the whole of humanity's thinking we're going to walk on terra firma, the universal law of attraction is just a vibration which is saying, okay, let me draw you down. It's just a bunch of thoughts. That's what all these things are. It's what the whole universe is made out of. It's a bunch of thoughts that we've agreed on.
Oh, you know what? Off brand. I want to switch it up and ask this question to both you guys real quick before we get out of here. Why do you think such a small percentage of our brain we use?
Who cares?
Me. That's why I asked.
Good answer. I like that.
No, I mean, because
my answer to that is that it's your problem then.
If I have 100% of something to use, something that's been so powerful and such impactful in my life, I'd like to use more than 8% of it.
Okay, so how do you use it? You use it by focusing on one thing for more than 14 seconds, so that the universal law of attraction of its own power can draw in the cooperative components so that it can help the manifestation of what you want. Statement goes, if you want something and you get it, you're happy. If you want something and you don't get it, you're unhappy. So what you want to do is learn to focus. One of the most difficult things you're ever going to land up doing in your entire life is focusing on one thing for 14 plus seconds. So if you want to know what to do, you say to yourself, I need to learn to focus. So when I see somebody really into their phone, I say, isn't that great? They're learning to focus. Everybody says, oh, they're addicted to their phones. I'm saying, look at that focus, because focus is the key to life. Whatever you want, you focus on it, you get it. But you need to learn to focus. It's easier to focus on things you love. Find things you love, focus on them. And then you'll start manifesting them, and all the universal law of attraction will bring its power to help you get it, blah, blah, blah. Learn to focus.
Well,
I'm going to take a different approach on it. I'm going to question the assumption. The assumption is we only use, 8% of our brain. I haven't delved into this in any great detail, so I'm talking a little bit out of school here. But from what little I have investigated of it, there are some very major assumptions that get built in, a priori assumptions that get built in by the researchers who come to those conclusions. And I don't know what they all are. If I remember correctly, one of them is that they're measuring the amount of brain activity at any given instant in time. And so if at an instant in time, this 12% is demonstrating activity and the rest isn't, then they're saying, well, it's inactive. But at the next instant, the next part is active.
It could be a whole nother 12%.
So why are we excluding that one? You know, it's like, why aren't we seeing an electrical field just taking over the brain all at once is kind of what they're saying. And I'm saying, what? What are you talking about? That's kind of like asking the computer chip to fire all ones and zeros at the same moment and make that be some sort of a super new program. That's not the way computers work.
Okay.
So I question the assumption behind it.
You can also question it from the point of view is what is controlling your heartbeat, your lungs, your kidney, your liver, the hair growth on your hair, the breathing, the seeing, the feeling. There's one freaking powerful computer going somewhere, doing a shitload of things. That's just with my body, never mind anything else.
What they say is that all the you being able to stand up and not fall, your balance, your nail growth, like you said, all that is in that 8%. And the rest of it would be like telekinesis and pyrokinesis, being able to levitate objects, including.
And all of that comes down to one simple thing, your level of focus.
Well, that I'm with it.
The other thing that I really wanted to bring in here is focus on what you can control.
Yes.
You can't control this unconscious idea that they've thrown into your mind. Leave it alone. Forget about it even existed. Forget even when we talked about it. Focus on what you can focus on and work on it.
I like that.
Forget the rest. Don't even think about it. Just let it go. I want this car, so what are the steps that I need to do it? And focus on that and leave all the rest out of it.
Mark my words. Everyone listening, you two gentlemen, I will be, maybe not the first, but I will fly.
I believe it.
Without a device, just
flesh
and bone Superman style.
Well, you do know that the yogis have got levitation and they've been flying for a while. And some of the
I hear it. I'm just waiting. I want to see a YouTube video about it. I just want to see it. Once I see the second I see,
type the word levitation on YouTube, and I'm sure you'll find thousands.
If I would pay good money to go to a village out in Indonesia somewhere and see someone levitate, because as soon as I saw that, I know I'd have it a week later, because it would be solidified as possible, which is what I'm having trouble wrapping my head around now.
So let me explain to you what somebody said to Abraham Hicks. Abraham Hicks, you say anything's possible. He said, yes, it is. He said, but I'm not flying like Superman. Nobody else around here is flying like Superman. Well, what do you mean we can fly like Superman? He says, yes, but you need to build up the vibration and the belief to it. You don't believe you're going to fly like Superman now, do you? No, I don't. So, of course, from the universal law of attraction, from everything we've taught you, you wouldn't be able to fly like Superman. It's just the way it is. So why don't you start, and this is their recommendation, why don't you start with out-of-body experiences? A lot of people have had those.
That's what today was.
Exactly. And this is why I bring it all in here, because this is the step-by-step process. And then Abraham says, when that first person can fly, then somebody else will see it, and then somebody else, and then everybody on the planet Earth will be Superman. We'll all be flying, you know. So
the world will be different.
The world
less
will
carbon
be different.
Footprint.
Exactly. You know. So it's a journey for us, and I had some. Watchtower, what do you call those guys?
Jehovah's Witness.
Jehovah's Witnesses knock on my door the other day. I told Walt this. First thing they said to me is, do you believe there'll be peace on this earth? I said to them, if you believe there'll be peace on this earth, then you do not understand how the world works at all. You don't understand anything about life. And they looked at me, what do you mean? I said, well, even your prophet, your son of God said there'll be war on this earth till time immemorial, those exact words, translated. And so even he understood that there'll never be peace on this earth. Yeah. And, eventually they were starting to agree with me and they were going to come back, but I was on a call, so I left them and I went back on my call.
The lion's got to eat. The lion's got to eat. And he's going to chase that.
I was trying to point out to them that importance of negativity and how it helps you expand and to understand the concept and to appreciate it and put it in your life and live it. And then, because I've been in Austria on holiday now, my niece was looking at she bought a book because she was watching all these things on YouTube about this guy is talking about how the world works and how, Big Bang Theory and blah, blah, blah. So I said to her, and does he talk about God? She says, well, kind of. I said, where is God? And, she goes back to a religion thing and eventually comes to me and says, he's everywhere.
Oh, nice.
And I said, oh, that's good, because that's what they teach you. It's omnipresent, omnipotent, and omnipotent. That's what Christians, or as a Catholic, I was brought up, that's the way it is. So I said, if God is everywhere, then you're God, aren't you? No, I'm not God. I said, but then I'm God. I said, no, you're not God. I said, this table's God.
That's right there. That's how you get whipped.
Louis loves stirring pots. You got to know this about him. He just loves stirring
That's not stirring pots. I'm talking my truth.
I know you
I'm
are, but
not
still
trying
stirring a pot.
That's their problem.
And I love the fact that you stir pots. I think it's great.
So she was looking at me and said, well, I suppose so. And then her brother says, I said, where's God? And he says, it's between the earth and the universe. I said, there's so many flaws in that statement. We don't know where to begin because the earth is in the universe.
Yeah.
And are you trying to say that Neil Armstrong, when he went to the moon, as soon as he left the atmosphere of the earth, he was in heaven? So, and then when he pointed up, I said, well, it must be down as well because the earth rotates. It's down and down.
Yeah.
Can't point up to heaven. So that doesn't work. So
it's funny because when you said that earlier, I was brought up to believe heaven was this place in the sky.
Mm.
And it was to the point where I would try to look past the clouds sometimes
to find it.
And it's just wish-wash.
So then I said to him, now that you're looking at God as being everywhere, what are the kind of characteristics you can give God?
Good question. I like that.
I said to them, the way I look at source energy now, and I don't look at it as God, I use the word source energy, and that's an interesting distinction, moving away from the G-O-D word or the dog word backwards.
You claim you don't like to stir pots. Are you kidding me? Come on.
I'm good
So
with it. I like that.
I like to look at it as the power that creates universes. And I have to put my hands up and say I stole that from Abraham Hicks. I look at God now, or source energy, as the power that creates universes. That's kind of that's all I see. There's no dog in the sky.
For a long time, I called it source because it was just a source of everything. So yeah, I like how you use that terminology. So we got what are you doing the 21st? I'd like you to come to my summit and speak a little bit more about that.
21st of this month.
Yeah, from noon to 4 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, maybe I can do that.
Let me know. We're going to connect.
What time is that Eastern time? I've got Time Buddy here.
It's 5 hours difference.
What time is it?
So that would be...
is it New York time, yeah?
Yeah.
New York time. So it'd be 5
and what time is it?
12 to 4.
12 in London is 5 p.m. Yeah, I can probably do that.
All right, I'm gonna send you a message on Facebook. We'll chop that up. But yeah, I'd like to get deeper into that and that whole, defining God and all that other stuff, because that's stuff you don't find in normal conversations without someone getting offended or whatnot. But in my summit, it'll be a bunch of like-minded individuals, so we'll be open to explore each of our different takes on things and pull what we want, leave what we want.
Cool.
And hopefully come away with more information. Like that's the whole point in it. More information.
I love talking about dog.
I love it.
And therein endeth the lesson.
Woof.
This has been fun, though. This has been really great. And it worked out exactly the way I hoped it would with you guys just chopping it, to use Neo's phrase. You chopped it up great. Really, really good. So
Learned a lot. I appreciate you.
Neo, thanks
Thank
for
you.
dropping by on Monday. This is like 3 in a row. Are we going to do like 4 tomorrow? 5? I don't know what's going to happen here. But yeah,
We'll see.
this has been good. And thank you, Louie, for your usual wisdom nuggets. I can't even call them nuggets. They're more like boulders. But yeah, thank you for passing along the boulders without
You're most
throwing them
welcome.
over anybody. Yeah.
Thanks
really
for
good
being the glue, Walt. You're brilliant.
That's it. I'm the glue. So this is your glue signing off. Thank you to our podcast listeners everywhere. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.